Hello, everyone. This is Gerald Celente, and it's Wednesday, May 25th, 2022. And again, we're very, very honored to have with us Judge Andrew Napolitano. And as I keep saying, nobody says what Judge Napolitano says with the judicial authority and background that he has when it comes to especially the Constitution, our Bill of Rights, and many of the current events forming future trends. So, Judge, thanks for being on today. And today is a sad day because it's the day after there was another mass shooting a few weeks ago, one up in Buffalo, some crazy kid in school killing people. And yesterday in Texas, another crazy kid slaughtering innocent people. And now, of course, the big talk from the government is we need gun control. So what do you think the outcome is going to be as far as having gun control, and what will the implications be?
Well, good morning, Gerald. It's always a pleasure to be with you, no matter what we're talking about. Here's my view, stated simply. First of all, the right to keep and bear arms is a fundamental natural right. It's an extension of the ancient right to self-defense. And in Justice Scalia's majority opinion, a case called Heller versus the District of Columbia, you have the right to keep and bear the same level of sophistication as bad guys have and as the government has. So the idea of punishing law-abiding citizens because there are creeps among us is absurd. It is equally absurd, maybe more so, to expect that someone who's willing to commit mass murder, in the case of yesterday, a heartbreaking slaughter of children, of 19 children and 2 teachers, it's inconceivable that a person willing to commit a crime like that is somehow going to obey gun laws. The only people that will suffer from the gun laws are those who obey the laws. Let me tell you who obeyed the laws in Texas. The teachers did, because it's against the law everywhere in the country by federal law, and it's against the law in Texas by state law for a teacher, even a teacher who's an ex-Marine or an ex-cop, to carry a sidearm. They should have been able to carry a sidearm. Why? Because we live in a culture where people will commit mass murder, and the only language they understand is their language, violence and death. When you and I were kids, these things didn't happen.
No.
You could still get a gun in those days, in the 50s and 60s, if you wanted to, but you didn't kill people with it. Today, we have such an aberrant culture, such a disrespect for human life, such a restraint of law-abiding people to protect themselves, that these mass murderers can commit what they commit. If anybody in that supermarket in Buffalo 2 weeks ago, or if any of those teachers or staff or phys ed teachers had a weapon yesterday in that school, these things would have been stopped the minute they started. But these killers know that places like supermarkets in New York where you can't carry a gun, or schools anywhere, is like shooting fish in a barrel. It's the government's fault that all that death happened, because the government has emasculated us from our ability to protect ourselves.
You said it, they've emasculated us. And again, like when we were kids, you know, I remember as a young guy, my friends still talk about it. I went out and bought a Beretta.
Good boy.
Yeah.
I won't even ask you where you got it.
I got it. When I went to school in West Virginia. I bought it down there. And again, you know, it wasn't, it didn't happen. Kids weren't, and by the way, they tell you, you know, like they don't want kids to have, I remember all those kids, we were playing guns all the time. You know, because it was after World War II. And they had all the Western movies. I have a picture of me, I'm about 8 years old, and I got 2 holsters, and, you know, I'm playing a cowboy.
Yes, same here.
And we weren't, so here's what I was thinking. the fish rots from the head down. And this country, when you look at the murders that the presidents of the United States have committed and how they brag about it, I want that guy Assad out of there. That's a quote from Barack Obama.
Yes.
I want that guy Gaddafi out of there.
Yes.
What is the difference between Obama saying, I want that guy Gaddafi out of there, or some crazy kid?
Gerald, remember this one? Saddam tried to kill my daddy. George W. Bush.
George W. Bush. Oh, George W. Bush. We got that clip of, again, you look at George W. Bush, you watch his actions, you see how ill prepared he is to even give a simple talk, and then he tells the truth, but he uses the wrong name in it. He blames the craziness, the arrogance, and the murderous acts of the invasion of Iraq on Russia.
Right.
Hey, listen
he was
to
talking
this.
about himself.
Yep, listen to this clip.
Russian elections are rigged. Political opponents are imprisoned or otherwise eliminated from participating in the electoral process. The result is an absence of checks and balances in Russia and the decision of one man to launch a wholly unjustified and brutal invasion of of Ukraine.
Yeah, there you got it.
His Freudian slip is very telling. He looks terrible. He sounds terrible. He knows that a lot of us have been beating him up because what he did in Iraq was equally, if you talk about the numbers, far more murderous than what Putin is doing in Ukraine. He's ripping apart Putin for one man making a decision. One man, and those like Colin Powell who are willing to lie for him, and the gullible people in Congress who are willing to go along with it. One man launched that invasion because Saddam tried to kill my daddy. Now, it is true, Saddam tried to kill George H.W. at one point, but that was years before, and it had absolutely nothing whatsoever to do with the national security of the United States.
Yeah.
That invasion of Iraq cost 850,000 lives and 2 trillion American borrowed dollars, which we still owe.
So, the Forbes magazine just came out yesterday and had an article that someone was trying to assassinate Bush. And but by the way, let's go back to why did Saddam Hussein want to kill his daddy? Didn't his daddy operation, what was that one, in about 1991?
Yeah, his daddy invaded Iraq, pushed the Iraqis out of Kuwait. I don't know how that affected national security of the United States, and in doing so, killed thousands of Iraqi troops.
Yeah, and again, this isn't our business.
Correct.
You know, we're Americans. This is going on over there. You think it had anything to do with oil? No, I think their major export is broccoli. I think that's what it was. Yeah. Again, it's all about, I mean, you go back to when America, look what they did to South America with the fruit, you know, they want what they have. Why do countries, I love the word colonize other nations. What colonize? You're taking them over and destroying the places so you can grab whatever you want.
Right.
And going back to Bush, this article yesterday from Forbes, this guy they say someone tried to assassinate him. Quote, the suspect, Shahab Ahmed Shahab, based in Columbus, Ohio, said he wanted to assassinate Bush because he felt the former president was responsible for killing many Iraqis and breaking apart the country after the 2003 U.S. military invasion, according to the warrant.
Felt. It's a historical fact and a truism. It's exactly what we've just been talking about. And it's exactly what this clown, the former president, just admitted to.
So now let's go back to that 12-year-old or that kid, that crazy guy that just killed these people. What makes him any different than this guy?
Like you said at the outset, the fish stinks from its head.
Yep, the fish rots from the head down.
The government kills, the government murders, the government executes, and these kids pick up those ideas from them, and the government emasculates us and prevents us from protecting ourselves.
Now let's look at what they call Hollywood, that freak show out there in California, and look at all the violent movies that they put out. These things, digitized stupid things of alien, mass killings all the time. And number 3, look what the lockdowns did to people mentally, financially, and how they've destroyed so many lives. The facts are there. Drug use is going way up. Crime levels have gone way up. We wrote about this in the Trends Journal when they began